There have been a lingering issue in Nigeria, which is the issue of fuel subsidy. It has been shown that fuel subsidy removal in Nigeria could cause inflation and reduce economic welfare, and if the situation is not properly managed, it can have a disastrous effect on the entire nation. Our correspondent, Juliet Obakwebe, has more.
One of the most daunting and complex socio-economic policy issues in Nigeria remains the issue of fuel subsidy removal. The decision by the government to outrightly remove the subsidy on fuel ignited series of arguments and protests nationwide. Despite the global reduction in the price of oil, Nigeria experiences high price of oil.
The issue of fuel subsidy removal, I know it has caused commotion amidst the country, but I don't think that is the best option for us, because this is the only way at which governments are using to support both businessmen and the companies. And then these are the kind of incentives that every organization were getting, including fuel.
I don't think this is the right time to remove subsidy on fuel, because currently Nigeria, we're going through a lot, considering the cashless policy we just went through, and we are going through a lot. So I think now is not the time to remove fuel subsidy because of the price. I think it's high enough. We don't need to remove fuel subsidy.
The potential benefits are diminished due to the existence of significant subsidies on imports of petroleum products. These subsidies are considered to be an important instrument for keeping fuel prices and hence the cost of living low. Although, with the current call for removal, it is unknown how it will play out on the citizens, considering the current state of the economic challenges.
The effect of fuel subsidy in Nigerian economy is it makes things a little cheaper for people to afford. This makes work easier to do, because when there is fuel subsidy, when the government helps in terms of fuel subsidy, it makes acquiring fuel easier for workers, because most of the companies in Nigeria now work on fuel. You know, transport workers, from the transport workers to the barbing salon to, everybody uses fuel. When there is fuel subsidy, when the cost to acquire fuel is cheap, it is easier. The person working with the fuel can manage whatever he or she is doing and reduce the cost of whatever the product or services he or she is offering. But when there is no fuel subsidy and there's high cost in fuel, everybody increase whatever their products or services is.
When fuel subsidy is being removed, then we have high cost or rates at which we will be getting our fuels. There are some people getting their fuels for 200 naira. Presently now we are getting it for 200 naira, 216 naira. But if the fuel subsidy is removed, definitely the price will goes up from maybe 200 to 500, 700, of which is not everybody that will be able to afford such.
More so, the removal of subsidy could have a deleterious effect on the entire nation if not properly managed. An increase in the cost of petroleum motor spirit, diesel, and kerosene is said to bring about inflation and untimely spiral into every sector of the economy.
The government can actually work on the employment. In the situation whereby the rate at which they used to employ people will be high, more than the way it is now or the way it was before.
Government should look into other sectors to balance, the equation, so that there's no more load on the fuel sector. Like for instance, the electricity, make electricity, more current, more stable, make preparation for solar, and things like that. It will make workers and some industry working 24 hours on fuel to have more options, thereby making more fuel available for the transport workers and some other occupations that cannot really have substitute for fuel while making their product or services.
Given the reason for the fuel subsidy removal to clamp down on corruption, cut down government borrowing, to reduce the budget deficit, and promote accountability in governance, the government is hereby called upon to ease the burden on the citizens. Juliet Obakoriboy, reporting for KAFTAN TV News.